Welcome to Navigating Your 20s. I'm your host, Jess Hugo, and I am so excited to have you here. I'm an online personal trainer and nutritionist, but honestly, underneath it all, I am just a girl who is struggling, thriving, and surviving somehow all at once. So if this is you, you are not alone. If you want all the juicy tea on what it's like to be a girl navigating her 20s, I'm talking relationships, health, fitness, social life, work, and everything in between, then you're in the right place.
Hello, my girls. Before I jump in today, I just want to talk about something that is super unrelated to the episode, but has just been on my mind a lot. And I have kind of mentioned it in my episode about if we're on a hot girl walk right now, but I just feel like every single day that I wake up, there is more and more scarcity and noise from the media. And you guys know, if you work with me in a one-on-one capacity, I am not political in any way. I do not care what your beliefs are. I'm like, whatever, you do you, girl. But there comes a point where I actually realized today, so many people don't actually get to talk to anyone about these types of feelings. Like when you go online and see videos of dangerous things happening in the US and things are moving into Australia and more and more things are happening, who can you talk to about that, right? So sometimes I will have little conversations with my girls when I see them, or when I check in with them online and all of the things, and that opens a window for them to have a conversation with me and just get it off their mind. Not even in a political sense, just saying this is so fucking crazy. And sometimes it feels so good to say, this feels so fucking crazy to someone, right? So I just wanted to kind of give you space that if there is something on your mind right now with those things, please talk about it, because I just find that bottling it all up, it really makes this really scarcity factor, and it makes you want to stay home all the time, and it makes you want to avoid socials, but then you're kind of glued to your screen waiting for the next media outlet. And I just know this morning it was my whole feed was death after death after death, and this is so unrelated to this episode, so please just hear me out. If you're struggling with dealing with all of this, don't deal with it alone. Message someone, talk to someone. I just feel it is getting scarier and scarier, and we're young girls in our 20s. We want to be living life, and I feel when we're always consuming this type of content, even unintentionally, it's that's all we can think about and that's all we know, and it really takes away from our overall happiness in our day. So I just wanted to remind you that take a minute, get away from your phone for a minute, take a breath, do not stress about the things that you're seeing online. I actually don't consume a lot of media because I find that it is geared to scare you, and you will find that, think about your grandparents, for example, they are quite, well, what do? They're retirees, right? So they're at home watching the news, and then they get really freaked out about a lot of things, and the news is just it's educational, yes, but it's also equally as toxic. So I just want to mention that if you are going through something at the moment, I see you. What I like to do is control what I can control. These situations can't take away from me putting energy into the gym. And I know that sounds oh, shut up, Jess, but genuinely, when I'm in the gym, I'm focusing on me, my strength, my power, and it has nothing to do with the outside world, whether there's good things or bad things happening. And I just want you to really find that hobby that you can float into and get off social media when you need that moment. I've got so many episodes on this, so if you want to hear more from me, just go down the podcast, and I have so many about scroll holes and social media and all of the things. But just get out your coloring book, get to the gym, go on a walk, put a podcast on that is just really lighthearted and chit chat, which is what I do. So without further ado, I want to go into that and today's episode, but I just wanted to address that as well, because I know loneliness in your 20s is really, really prominent. And I think when you're struggling with kind of processing all of that in your 20s, it is wild. Our brains aren't wired to wake up first thing in the morning, see deaths on our social medias, and be able to handle that. So if you're struggling, that's so normal. You're not alone. But I wanted to get into today's episode. She's a bit juicy as well. She is on a lighter note, but this is going to be us kind of talking shit, but also educational, trust me. And it's kind of around the center of if you've been in coaching spaces before and they've been dog shit, I see you. A lot of you DM me and tell me things. A lot of you come into Toned and Trendy and tell me things. And it does infuriate me that as an industry, do better. Literally do better. I have so much I want to say, but you've seen no results. you're off coaching now, you're like, oh my God, like I'm never going to sign with another coach again. That was the worst experience ever. And I just want to talk about what I've been experiencing through my clients' experiences, which is really, really funny. So I am going to give like an actual story, but of course I'm not going to be sharing any names and stuff like that and actual examples and things like that. But I also want to hear from you. So as always, I literally just started doing it. I'm going to have the little anonymous box below so you can share your thoughts to me, ask any questions off the back end and things like that. But one of my girls, she actually inquired with me in July 2024. We're currently September 2025, right? So she inquired with me then. It just didn't really work out based on the fact that like, I don't know, the conversation was just like really weird. Like she was like, oh, I want this, I want this. And it was very like wishy-washy. And I was like, it's like, so fine, girl. This is what I offer. If not, all good. And I like never really heard from her. And that was like, fine. That's business. Like it is what it is. And then literally exactly 1 year later, like it was July 2025, she had filled out my application again and DM'd me and said, hey girl, like I just filled out your application, really hoping to hear from you. I really want to join Toned and Trendy. And I was like, fun. Like I recognized her name straight away. And I was like, this girl literally inquired with me, I want to say sometime last year. And then I checked and I was like, she inquired with me exactly 1 year ago on that day, which is honestly insane. Like that it is this thing, like how often do you sit on things for so long and you think about it and think about it and think about it? Like that can be me in certain situations as well. 1 year is a long time to be watching, but once she eventually, like we had a little chat and she came into Toned and Trendy, I was like, so what's been happening? Tell me like everything. Like obviously we chatted about a year ago, so give me like your full life update. And she was like, honestly, I went and inquired with like multiple coaches. I signed up with another coach and it was like a fucking shit show. Now, I don't need to try to be better than. I think I am better than. Like, you know what I mean? I know that Toned and Trendy has the best deliverables, has the best inclusions. I know that it gets insane fucking results. I don't need to compare to competitors. So I didn't actually ask who, and she didn't tell me, but I didn't ask. I didn't even try to like pry and figure out who she'd been working with. I genuinely like don't really care. I care that it was like a bad experience for her, but I do not care that she chose someone else. Like that is just the nature of the game. Funnily enough though, 9 times out of 10 you get burnt and then you come to me and I'm just like, girl, we could have been a year into this journey. But anyway, you live and you learn. So she said she had a really bad experience where she just was not like getting results. She was getting given meal plans that were really, really strict and didn't align with her and like her cravings and just lifing. And I was like, this is really funny because I hate meal plans. I actually hate them because I'm a really fussy eater. I actually posted something recently like, I hate avocado. And then one of my clients was like, what's wrong with avocado? And I was like, girl, the texture, like everything, I hate it. I hate tomato paste. Like there's so many things I hate. And now we've got the newfound allergy to my freaking nails. And we have the allergy to freaking mango. I need to do a story time on my nails because it's insane. But anyway, basically, this whole time she'd been in this situation she kind of like didn't want to be in, and then she wasn't getting the results she desired. And funnily enough, and I actually realized this literally last night on the way to the city with my partner, I was like mentioning someone else, not in details, like confidentiality is a big thing for me. And like, honestly, everyone in my family can barely even keep up with who is who. Like, so I always just tell half stories and give like no one in my world but me truly knows what's going on. Even if you think you know like a little bit about like someone or something or whatever, you do not know the bloody half of it, bitch. But anyway, I was telling him about someone else, and I know I'm jumping, but I'll go back. And he was like, does everyone know like that you did 2 years of studying psychology? And I was like, oh, like maybe if they listen to the podcast. And I was like, otherwise I don't really talk about it, obviously, because I didn't finish my degree. I deferred and I never went back. And then he was like, but I feel like that's the reason why you care so much about your clients and you go deeper than just here's your calories and here's your freaking training program. You want to know like the ins and outs of their life. You want to know like the mental health side of things. You want to know without like prying. It's not like I'm asking them like, what medication are you on? Like, no, but it's like, okay, what's popping up for you? How do you respond around your cycle? Cycle is a huge one. And so many coaches aren't talking about it. And I'm like, why is this a thing? Why are other coaches, I don't know if they're like promising the world and they've just got really good marketing and they're getting everyone in, but from what I'm hearing, they're essentially doing that. They're promising the world. you get into their world and then they're giving meal plans that don't align with your dietary requirements, or not really dietary requirements, because it's not like there is an what is it called? I was about to say an insulin resistance. It's not like there's a, oh my God, what is this? Like a reaction, like you can't have it, but it's like a preference, right? So why are they not caring about that? And I had another girl message me saying that like her coach wasn't responding, and I was like, why is this a thing? And even someone else just joined Toned and Trendy, and she asked me a question and I got back to her, I don't even know, within the hour or two, I don't know. And she was like, thanks for getting back to me so quickly. And I was like, what is this standard? I'm so confused by this standard, but the industry is just whack. So anyway, it's like my partner was like, you need to talk about more that you actually care about those things. And I was like, I genuinely do. And anytime someone's coming to me with like them struggling with their mental health, I'm like, okay, we need to move more. There is nothing worse than laying in bed all day when you're struggling. Yes, that's what you want to do. I get it. I've had seasons where I'm like, I do not want to leave this bed. Equally though, I know as soon as I get moving, I feel better. Even if I'm going on this walk at snail's pace, even if I'm moving less weight than usual, we need to get out of this mindset of constant PBs, constant pace matching on our walk, going further and further, going faster and faster, and actually just be like, okay, today I feel really shit. Put the phone away. I'm going to go for a walk. And I know that it's so much easier said than done. Even sometimes, like if I have a lot going on with work, I'm like waking up and I'm straight on my phone. I'm like responding to client messages at 5 a.m. like a psychopath. And I'm like, girl, you need to relax, do something for yourself first, and then get back to them, because half of them aren't even up anyway. So they're not even needing the reply right then in that moment. So I'm like, you need to calm down. Anyway, back to this girl. So she came to me saying, it wasn't working for me, this doesn't work for me, this doesn't work for me, like, please help me. And I was like, okay, this is what we're used to. We're used to like messaging once a week. We're used to being promised custom programs, but they're not custom, and they literally like don't even align with the equipment we have available to us at all, and they're not able to be like changed easily. The programming's just like subpar. It's so standard. Weekly or fortnightly message at that, just being like, oh, how are you going? A PT pretending to have nutrition qualifications when they don't, which is literally illegal. And oh, do you know how many girls I know that don't have nutrition qualifications, and they're literally just fucking pretending, and they're giving out the wrong and incorrect information, and women are literally losing their supply when breastfeeding postpartum from people giving out incorrect and inappropriate calories and macros that like legally they cannot do. Yeah, that is fucked in the head. Like, I'm sorry, but why is that like what we're used to? And then what comes from all of that? No results, leaving that coaching space feeling bloated, more bloated than ever, more lethargic than ever, feeling really down, and making it about you, that you're incapable of getting results, that you're not good enough at XYZ, when like the reality is that coach actually didn't care. And I'm like, okay, what is my point of difference, right? Like, why am I the piece of like, when it doesn't work out, you come to me, but you didn't come to me first, right? But you know I get results. And it's actually funny, someone else, I don't want to get specific because it'll be obvious, but someone else I know always asks me about other coaches, always asks me about other results from different coaching capacities and different things. And she always wants to invest in everyone else, but then when she wants logical advice, she comes to me. And I was like, lovingly, like, just decide what you're going to do and go for it. Like, I'm not here to give you because she knows that I'm the practical one, but she gets swept up in the marketing of like, here's your 4-week transformation. But she knows like at the end of the day, I'm going to be so honest and so real with her, which I really value. I value honesty, unbiased perspectives, and collaboration. I don't value quick wins, low calories, illegal fucking capacities. So she always comes to me for that, and I'm like, how about we actually just take a leap on practical for once? And I understand why this happens, because I don't know if I've shared this story on the pod, but one of my clients was like, I know you do like a sustainable approach, but can we just cut my cows right back down? And I was like, no, we're not doing that. And That doesn't work. I'm not doing it to be a bitch because I don't want you to see results. I'm doing it because it doesn't fucking work. And I know it's going to fuck you up more. Because anytime I've been in that space where I've cut my calories right down, been really restrictive, it has taken me 6 months to even be able to get back into tracking again. It's taken me 6 months to even get back into maintaining my weight. It would be going up, up, up. I'd look so bloated. I'd look so puffy, inflamed. I hated how I looked. So I'm not going to do that to anyone because I've lived that experience. I've lost the 20 kilos. I've gained back 10. I've lost it again. I've been through so many of those experiences. And I'm like, this is why I'm like, this is what we should be actually getting. Please note, I have a little disclaimer. Deliverables depend on the coach and the offering. I have said this before, as well as the pricing point. Because right now I'm going to give an example of the highest tier coaching, right? But I have said before, when girls have said to me that my coach isn't doing my programming, my coach isn't getting back to me in time, what did you actually sign up into? Because I know that different coaches have different offerings. Some coaches are in there once a week. Some coaches are in there 3 days a week. It really just depends on like what the price point is and what the like touch base and like how high ticket the offer is. So I please just want you to remember that. But I'm about to give an example of like my highest tier coaching, what the expectations are in it. Not to sell you into anything, so that you know that this is what you should be getting in a high tier capacity when you're trying to lose weight, or not even lose weight, when you have a specific goal. You're trying to tone up. You're trying to build, you're trying to, get more consistent in the gym. Like, this is what, honestly, the expectations are to me. So messaging responses within 24 to 48 hours, bare minimum. Bare minimum, obviously, again, dependent on like what days they're in and things like that. And that's why I'm saying 48 hours, because maybe they take a Monday off. Maybe you messaged on Monday. You should hear back by then on Tuesday. This is also Monday to Friday, mind you. If they work on a weekend, pop off. I don't. Anyway, next. I actually wrote, I don't think I've ever taken more than 24 hours to reply to a paying client in my coaching. So go me, hats off to me. Anyway, okay, custom programming based on your goals that are ever changing. Meaning, if you come in a weight loss phase and you have this particular program and then you're going into a bit of a build phase, we are going to adjust and change. Now, does programming need to be the number one thing that changes? No, but we're actually going to go in and change around the reps a bit, change around the tempo a bit, make things a little bit more challenging, add in some extra sets, just little minor tweaks. If you're getting the same rinse and repeat all the time, every 4 weeks, it's the same fucking thing with one thing change, they're not doing a custom program for you. Or maybe I'm doing too much. Trust me, I've sat with that. I'm like, am I over delivering? Am I doing too much? And then I was like, why is that a bad thing? Why is that a bad thing that I genuinely want my girls to get results? Like, why is that bad? Trust me, I've sat with this for a really, really, really long time. So know that a lot has gone into this. Next, dual qualification that is registered under either the Nutrition Council, the Dietetics Council, like whatever it may be. They should have a dual qualification if they're charging that much per week. Again, if you're not registered under the Nutrition Council, for example, and you're offering calories and macros and meal plans, bitch, be so for real. And you're charging hundreds of dollars a week. That's illegal. Point in case. Next, seeing consistent scale drops or measurement changes or photo changes, clothes fitting differently, feeling better within yourself if you're genuinely holding up your end of the agreement. Meaning, if you are tracking your calories as accurately as possible and sticking to them as accurately as possible, you are ticking off your workouts, you're doing your steps, you're putting in all the fucking work. If you're not seeing any changes in anything I just mentioned, what's going on? What's going on? And be honest with yourself in that, because I have a couple girls where I'll be like, okay, did you do your like cardio session this week? And they'll be like, no. And I'm like, okay, bitch, do your cardio session. Because we need to be so honest with ourselves, because it's so easy to sit here and be like, why am I not seeing these consistent changes? But I wasn't consistent last week. I didn't get in the gym any day outside of like one day. I didn't actually track my calories at all. I went and ate out multiple days in that week, and now I'm realizing that it's actually quite hard to lose weight if I'm eating out every single night. Can you eat out once or twice and lose weight? Yes, I literally ate out last night unintentionally against my will. It wasn't in the game plan, and I was 400 grams down on the scales today. So with intention and structure, you can. You just need to be very intentional and not be taking the piss with it. But if you're putting in all that work, you should be seeing results. If you're working with someone right now and you're doing all of those things and you're not seeing changes, that's a red flag for me. Lastly, check-ins, meaning, yes, a formal questionnaire, checking over your food diary, giving feedback based on your foods, offering structure, advice, food changes, ideas, all of the things, but also messaging with that. So I found recently that I really think that messaging almost works better than a formal questionnaire, but then that formal questionnaire is almost needed in there somewhere. But for example, I do check-ins on Tuesday. I had a conversation with one of my girls just via message on Monday, and she was like, I feel so much better going into check-in. And I was like, interesting. Like, honestly, I think the messaging access is more valuable than a dedicated check-in. Don't get it twisted. I still think a dedicated check-in is really, really important because that's where we can go in and update calories, macros, training, anything that needs to kind of be touched on, and also take on any feedback from the client and all of the things. But I think like all it takes is really a message to uncover a lot that's going on. And one of my girls said to me like, wow, that timing was wild. You literally messaged me mid Menti B. I was having a bit of a breakdown and it's like you're in my head, and it was everything I needed to hear. And that's why I really value the messaging access over like waiting for a dedicated check-in to come. But I also know some coaches just do like a check-in with no messaging access and stuff. Again, it depends on the tiers and stuff, but I feel like that really gives like bare minimum if you're paying for the highest tier coaching. What I want to mention is everyone has a different budget. High tier to you could be $70 a week. High tier to you could be $120 a week. So take that with a grain of salt as well with what I'm saying. But I just think the expectations need to be a little bit better. And as coaches, we need to be doing more. I just want to touch on this quickly. When I got to this kind of psychology point last night and realization, because I said to my partner, I've just had a new girl start with me. There's a couple of like red flags in terms of like people haven't picked her up on her negative self-talk. People haven't picked her up on just her mental side of things and how like negative she has come in. Not like negative to me, but about herself. Like she's like, I don't think I'm good enough to do this, all of the things. And I was like, why has no one, she's worked with other coaches before. Why has no one ever put her up on that and said, hey, like, I know, I see you, I hear you, I know how you're feeling, but let's just like do this instead and let's focus on this instead and stuff. And like she literally messaged me yesterday and was like, thank you so much, like that motivation, that just made me feel so much better. And I was like, why is this not the standard? And then it was the realization that like I actually study psychology, so I get it. I've actually lost the 20 kilos, so I get it. And I think that's like the whole point. And as I said, I've been sitting with this for a while. I'm like, do I care too much? But like if I care too much, lock me up. Like, God forbid I want you to feel fucking hot in your body. God forbid I don't want you to feel how I used to feel every single fucking day. God forbid I don't want you to go in the fucking change rooms, hate what you see in the mirror. Like, I actually genuinely want you to have the best fucking life. I feel like, as I said at the start, there's so many other things going on that can be so negative. But if you pour into yourself and show up for yourself, so many great things happen. So I just want you to take this as a sign, not that you need to be in coaching, not that you need to do anything, but hold yourself and the people around you and the things that you invest in to a higher standard. Ask for more, do more. Don't be afraid to ask questions. I actually think power to you if you ask questions. And I know it's scary. I've done it before. I asked like a really fucking whack-ass question to someone and I literally was like, I'm so sorry that I'm like asking this. And I felt like such a freak, but I was like, I know if I don't ask this question, I'm doing myself a disservice. That is all from me today. I know it was like, honestly, that went really quick. Like, I know it was quite short and sweet, but I just want you to realize where things are falling short, where things are lacking, where you should be holding yourself to a higher standard, and where you should just take a step back and pour into the most important person, which is you. If you enjoyed this episode, rate the podcast 5 stars and click the follow. I just feel like it helps us grow so much on the potty, and I would love to get your ratings, reviews, vibes, all of the things. Don't forget, I've linked the anonymous question and feedback below. So if you have any questions off the back end of today's episode, or anything you even just want to mention about your experiences and things like that you want me to hear, feel free to send it through and I will read it, talk about it, all of the things. Thank you so much for your support, and I will see you in the next one. Mwah. That's a wrap on another episode of Navigating Your 20s. Thank you so much for joining me and taking the time to listen. If you enjoyed the conversation, vibes, and got something out of today, please feel free to send me a DM with any key takeaways and feedback, or share on your socials and tag me so we can connect. If you liked today's episode and you're wanting more from me, you can find me on all socials at success.withjess.